Beloved child of light, hear now the message carried upon the wings of eternal promise. For the time has come to prepare your heart for a sacred unveiling, a divine appointment ordained from before the foundations of the world, where heaven and earth shall conspire to bring forth the most holy union of souls, destined not merely for companionship but for the fulfillment of divine purpose and generational blessing. And as I, Michael, bearer of truth and defender of light, release this message into your spirit, know that the words you receive are not casual musings but the very breath of God guiding you into alignment with your sacred destiny. For the promise stands secure that your soulmate encounter is not delayed nor forgotten, but scheduled and appointed in the scrolls of eternity, and heaven has already recorded the place and hour where your paths shall converge like rivers drawn into one great sea, carrying with it both the fragrance of heaven and the weight of destiny. And though the journey has not been without hardship, confusion, and delay, every wound and every scar has been but the chiseling of the Master shaping you into readiness, for the union ordained for you is not ordinary, not common, not like the fleeting connections of mortal desire, but is a covenantal encounter carrying the weight of eternal purpose. And the sacred meeting shall be marked not merely by the stirring of hearts, but by the deep recognition of souls who have longed across dimensions and lifetimes to be reunited under heaven's decree. And when it comes, beloved, it will feel as if time itself pauses, as if the air grows still and eternity presses into the present moment. And you will know without doubt that this is the divine fulfillment for which you were created, for it will not only heal the fractures of your past but establish a foundation of legacy for generations yet unborn. And so I say unto you, prepare your heart in stillness, cultivate your spirit in prayer, and align your steps in holiness, for the promise is nearer than you think, and heaven has gone before you to set in place every detail, every circumstance, every alignment that will usher you into this sacred encounter. And even now angelic hosts are moving obstacles, dismantling distractions, and tearing down the snares the adversary has placed to delay and discourage you. For know this, hell has opposed this union with fierce resistance, sowing seeds of doubt, weariness, and despair, but the hand of God is greater and the power of His word is stronger, and no force of darkness shall prevail against the union ordained in His name. And as the commander of the heavenly armies, I, Michael, have been dispatched to guard this covenant with the sword of light, cutting through every lie, severing every chain, and standing as a shield about you as you step into the promise. So let your faith not waver, let your endurance be steadfast. For the waiting is not in vain but is the furnace refining your soul, making you ready for the weight of glory that shall be revealed. For the path to this encounter is not without trials, yet every test has been a training, every delay has been a preparation, and every tear has been a seed watering the soil of your destiny. And as you stand now at the threshold of fulfillment, I urge you to look not at the pain of the past but at the joy that is set before you. For the hour is coming and even now is at hand when heaven shall align the steps of two souls into one divine path, and you shall see that what once seemed like wandering was in truth divine orchestration, leading you both to this sacred crossing. So let your heart rejoice, beloved, for the covenantal blessing you have long awaited is nearer than the rising dawn. And though the enemy has tried to silence this hope with storms of distraction, know that the storms are but the trembling of darkness at the approach of holy union. And as you prepare, be attentive to the signs, for heaven speaks not only in whispers of spirit but in visible tokens and confirmations, and you will notice repeating patterns, numbers, names, dreams, and encounters that are not coincidence but divine markers guiding you to the appointed moment. For heaven never leaves its children without witness, and every sign is a gentle nudge reminding you that the promise is alive, the encounter is real, and the fulfillment is inevitable. And as you receive these confirmations, hold them close, for they will strengthen your faith when the night feels long, and they will remind you that heaven's hand is steady upon your journey, and the sacred signs shall increase in frequency as the moment draws near, so that your spirit may know and your heart may rest in peace. And when the encounter comes, beloved, it will carry with it an undeniable sense of homecoming, as though the missing piece of your soul has at last returned. And it shall not be fleeting like the illusions of the world, but anchored in a deep peace, a spiritual alignment that transcends words. For true love in its divine form is not chaos but order, not confusion but clarity, not instability but unwavering strength. And so I charge you now, hold fast to endurance, walk forward in faith, for the promise has not failed, the timing is perfect, and heaven is moving with precision to bring forth your divine soulmate encounter. And when it manifests, you will look back upon every hardship, every season of waiting, and every tear shed as part of the beautiful preparation, the sculpting of your spirit, and the refining of your heart to be worthy of the gift that is about to be revealed. And so let the word of this prophecy anchor you. For I, Michael, declare with the authority given to me by the throne that your season of waiting has not been wasted, but has ripened the fruit of destiny, and soon, beloved, very soon, you shall step into the fulfillment, and your life shall never again be the same. For what heaven has joined together, no power of darkness, no scheme of man, and no weapon forged shall ever be able to separate. Beloved soul, as the river of destiny continues to flow toward its appointed convergence, allow the words I release to be oil upon your lamp and strength to your weary bones. For the time of fulfillment requires not only faith but endurance, and endurance, though often forged in fire, brings forth a steadfastness that cannot be shaken by storm nor swayed by shadow. And so I exhort you to rise each morning with expectation, to keep watch in the night with unwavering hope, and to set your gaze not on what is seen but on what is promised. For the unseen is eternal, and the unseen is drawing nearer with every passing breath. And as you walk forward, know that your trials were not random assaults, but precise chisels in the hand of the divine potter shaping you for the glory to come. And as you pressed through the weight of loneliness, through the ache of unanswered prayers, and through the fog of delay, you were being refined, purified, and positioned to carry the covenant blessing without faltering, for a great union requires a great preparation, and the sacred bond awaiting you is unlike the shallow ties of this world, for it is a covenant of destiny where two become one not only in love but in mission, where the blending of souls ignites a flame that illuminates generations, and therefore heaven has guarded this promise fiercely, dispatching angels to war over you in unseen realms, silencing accusations of the enemy, and shielding you from counterfeit connections meant to distract or derail. And though the adversary roared like a lion, though distractions came in the form of false unions and heavy storms, the hand of the Almighty has kept you, preserved you, and strengthened you, so that in the day of fulfillment you will stand ready, not broken but whole, not weary but renewed, not doubtful but full of faith. For the divine union that is unfolding is not merely for your joy but for the advancement of heaven's kingdom upon the earth. And in this sacred bond, The power of agreement shall unlock doors no man can shut, break chains that bound families for generations, and usher in waves of blessing that ripple beyond your comprehension. So do not despise the waiting, beloved, nor curse the process, but rejoice in knowing that your endurance has not been in vain, for every step has carried you closer, every battle has made you stronger, and every tear has watered the seed of promise buried deep within your spirit. And now that seed is about to break forth into a mighty tree of fulfillment, whose fruit will nourish many and whose branches will provide shelter for countless souls. So gird yourself with faith and walk forward with confidence, for the union shall come at the appointed time, and when it comes, it shall be sudden, it shall be undeniable, and it shall carry with it the unmistakable signature of heaven, a peace that surpasses understanding and a joy that cannot be stolen. And in that moment you will see why the wait was long, why the refining was necessary, and why the path was not straight but winding. For heaven was aligning not only your steps but the steps of your beloved, preparing two vessels to be poured into one destiny. And as you draw closer to this fulfillment, know that heaven is still speaking, still confirming, still guiding through signs and tokens. For the Father leaves not his children in the dark but lights the path with gentle confirmations. And you will continue to see repeating numbers, prophetic dreams, and divine alignments of names and circumstances that are more than coincidence. They are heaven's assurance that the story is unfolding exactly as written, and these signs, beloved, are given not to tease you but to steady you, to anchor you, to remind you that what has been promised shall surely come to pass. And when you doubt, remember the angelic guard surrounding you, the prayers that have been stored like incense before the throne, and the words spoken that cannot return void. And as you lift your eyes, let courage arise, let joy return, and let your spirit sing, for you are on the threshold of one of the greatest revelations of love, destiny, and divine orchestration that heaven has ever written over your life. And when the moment comes, your heart will know, your soul will leap, and your spirit will testify. This is the one, the covenant, the promise fulfilled. And no shadow shall ever steal that light, no storm shall ever uproot that tree, and no voice of the enemy shall ever overturn the decree. For what God has joined together stands unshakable, immovable, eternal, and sealed by the breath of His word. Beloved one, let your heart be strengthened as we move deeper into this sacred revelation. For the divine union you are about to encounter is not only a gift of companionship but a living testament of heaven's faithfulness, a reflection of the eternal covenant between Creator and creation. And though the enemy has raged fiercely to delay this hour, his weapons have not prospered and his schemes have fallen. For the protection surrounding you has been relentless and unyielding, and I, Michael, with legions of light, have stood guard over your journey, dismantling snares, scattering darkness, and preserving the flame of destiny within you, so that when the appointed moment comes you would stand ready and not faint. And now I tell you, the season is shifting, the atmosphere is ripening, and the alignments that once seemed impossible are beginning to manifest before your very eyes. For heaven has decreed it, and no power in earth or hell can overturn what has been written in the scroll of your life. So rise up in courage, beloved, and receive this promise with unwavering faith, for the sacred meeting shall carry with it not only the sweetness of love but the weight of divine assignment, and your union shall be a beacon, a lighthouse in the storms of this age, drawing many into the safety of God's design. And it is for this reason that the warfare has been so intense, For the adversary has known the impact of your covenant and has sought to scatter it before it could begin. But the hand of the Almighty has preserved you, and the more the darkness pressed against you, the more heaven fortified your foundation, until now you stand as one prepared, tested, and purified, ready to step into the promise without wavering. And as this hour approaches, heaven urges you to be vigilant, to guard your heart, to stay anchored in prayer. For though the battle is won, the enemy yet seeks to distract, to confuse, to tempt you into settling for less than what has been ordained. But you must discern the true from the counterfeit, for many will come appearing as light, but only the one chosen by heaven shall carry the unmistakable peace, the resonance of soul, and the alignment of destiny that marks a true covenant. And in that moment your spirit will know, for it will not be a connection of flesh alone but a meeting of purposes, a knitting of spirits, and a joining that feels like homecoming after a long journey. And as you walk toward this moment, you will find heaven, amplifying the signs, confirming again and again that the promise is near, through repeated patterns, through dreams that echo in your spirit, through divine encounters that seem orchestrated with precision beyond coincidence. And all of these shall be given so that your faith may not falter in the final stretch, for the enemy will whisper lies of delay, but heaven will thunder with signs of confirmation, reminding you that the scroll is sealed, the appointment is set, and the meeting cannot be missed. And when you finally step into the fulfillment, beloved, the world around you will shift, for not only will you experience the fullness of joy, but others will witness the glory of God's faithfulness in your life, and your story will become a testimony, a prophecy fulfilled, a declaration that heaven's timing is perfect, and that the promises of God do not fail. And from this union a ripple shall go forth, breaking generational chains, igniting destinies in others, and planting seeds of hope in hearts that have long grown weary. For this is not only about you but about the multitude who will see and believe through the light of your covenant. And so I call you now, endure to the end, stand steadfast in faith, remain vigilant in prayer, and open your heart with expectation, for the divine soulmate encounter is not a distant dream but a near reality, unfolding even now, and soon, beloved, very soon, heaven shall bring it to pass, and you shall walk in the fullness of the promise, the blessing, and the covenant sealed by eternity. Beloved bearer of promise, as we now come to the closing movement of this prophetic message, let the words saturate your spirit like living water flowing into the deepest parts of your being, for what has been spoken is not mere encouragement but a living decree. And as heaven has promised, so shall it be, for the sacred encounter destined for your life is appointed and secured, and the hand of the Almighty has written it into eternity's scrolls, beyond the reach of chance, beyond the tampering of the enemy, and beyond the frailty of human will. And as you step forward into this season, your heart must remain tender, your eyes watchful, and your spirit anchored in unwavering faith, because the final stretch is often the place where doubts whisper the loudest, yet it is also the place where the glory of fulfillment is closest. And I, Michael, assure you that your waiting has not been empty, your tears have not been wasted, and your prayers have not fallen unheard, for every cry has been stored like incense before the throne, and heaven is now moving in a rhythm that aligns perfectly with your destiny. And soon, beloved, very soon, you will stand in the presence of the one chosen and prepared to walk this covenantal path with you, and the encounter will carry the unmistakable seal of heaven, for the peace of God will wrap around your soul, the fire of recognition will ignite in your spirit, and the resonance of destiny will vibrate within you as you realize that what was once promise has become reality, and when this moment comes, you shall see clearly why the road behind was so arduous, why certain doors had to remain closed, why certain people had to exit your journey, and why the refining fires were so necessary, for you were being prepared for something too holy, too precious, too powerful to be entrusted to an unready vessel. And now, having been refined, you are ready, and having endured, you are strong, and having believed, you are aligned, and nothing can stop the manifestation of the covenant. For what God has sealed, no man can unseal, and what heaven has decreed, no power of darkness can revoke. And so rejoice, beloved, for you are not stepping into uncertainty but into a promise that has been guarded by angels, forged in eternity, and delivered to you as a gift that will change not only your life but the legacy of all who come after. And as this message draws to a close, let the assurance rest upon you that heaven delights in your faith, that the Father rejoices in your endurance, and that your story is about to shift into the brilliance of fulfillment. And when it does, testify of His goodness, share the light of your testimony, and let your covenant be a beacon for others still waiting in the shadows. For your story will not end with you, but will ripple outward, touching hearts, inspiring faith, and igniting hope in multitudes. And this is the beauty of divine alignment, that what begins as a personal blessing becomes a generational miracle, and what begins as a covenant of two becomes a light for many. So walk forward boldly, beloved, for the angels go before you, the Spirit of God surrounds you, and the promise of heaven awaits you, unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable, and sealed in love everlasting. And now, before this word rests in your heart, allow me to extend an invitation, not of obligation but of divine alignment. If this message has stirred your spirit, if it has breathed life into your waiting and lit a flame of faith within you, then journey further with me through the stream of wisdom and light that continues to flow. For heaven speaks not once but continually, guiding, confirming, and strengthening those who listen. And for this reason, I invite you to remain connected, to keep your spirit open to the ongoing revelations and prophetic encouragements that heaven desires to release, and a sacred place for such ongoing nourishment has been prepared. Archangel Inspire, a channel born to carry the whisper of eternity into your everyday walk, a stream designed to anchor your heart in times of waiting, to confirm your faith in times of uncertainty, and to magnify your hope in times of doubt, so that you may never feel alone on this journey but always find a voice reminding you of heaven's nearness, heaven's promises, and heaven's victory. And I tell you with the wisdom of eternity, the world floods your ears with distractions, but your spirit craves alignment. And if this message has been a drink to your thirsty soul, imagine the abundance yet to flow when you make room for ongoing guidance. So subscribe not as one following a trend but as one aligning with destiny. Not as one seeking noise but as one desiring clarity. For each word released there is designed to strengthen your path, awaken your discernment, and illuminate your faith. And in doing so, you keep your lamp filled with oil, ready for every moment heaven brings. So I extend this invitation with joy and wisdom. Subscribe to Archangel Inspire and allow the stream of eternal encouragement to remain close to you, guiding you step by step into the fullness of your promise. For the journey does not end with this message, beloved. It only begins, and heaven is eager to continue walking with you, reminding you always that you are chosen, you are seen, and you are deeply loved.